It's the E-Commerce Minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts, Bart, Mroz, and John Suder. The E-Commerce Minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. This episode of the E-Commerce Minute is brought to you by SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes. SendPro Online is software that makes it easy to save time and money, no matter what you ship or mail. Print shipping labels and stamps right from your desk and access discounted rates. E-Commerce Minute listeners can try for free for 30 days and get a free 10-pound scale when you visit pb.com/minute. That's pb.com/minute. It's E-Commerce Minute episode 425.
In today's episode, Shoptalk 2019 recap.
Shoptalk is the yearly retail industry trade show in Las Vegas. It draws attendees and vendors from all over the world. The show is not only for retailers, it's for people in e-commerce, investors, and startups, and it's great for anyone whose business touches any part of retail, especially the underlying technologies that help businesses run smarter. The show floor features big tech companies like Google, Microsoft, IBM, as well as big e-commerce platform providers like Shopify and BigCommerce. But for those who really want to learn what powers retail commerce, it's best to spend time with these smaller, up-and-coming vendors towards the back of the show floor. These are the companies with innovative new tech that will help the next generation of retailers stay ahead of the curve. The show also features speakers and learning tracks, as well as several inspiring keynotes. And let's not forget why most of us come to shows like this. It's for the networking. The show in itself is a fantastic opportunity to network and meet other industry professionals. This year's attendance was reported to be at capacity, which was 8,400. That is a lot of people. And Shoptalk veterans know where all the parties are. If you schedule your night just right, you can hit 3 to 5 vendor parties in a single evening. And being in Las Vegas doesn't hurt. The conference is centered at the Venetian Hotel on the Strip, so there's no lack of activities for those moments of downtime. Bart, would you like to tell us what your experiences has been?
There's definitely lack of sleep.
Well, let's talk about, let's take a step back. You've been attending this. How many Shop Talks have you been to?
Most of them except for last year, right? Because you went last year.
Right. So it started in 2015. What do you think has changed since then?
So much bigger. I mean, I think the first one was 3,000 people or something like that. It was tiny. I think so. The thing with any show that blows up is just the amount of people you have and how do you corral that, right? Like the first one was great because it was like people who knew who started it kind of went to it and it was great. I liked it.
Because it was more intimate.
It was very intimate, and I think getting it bigger is becoming interesting. So we'll see what they do with it. I've heard they're going to do some regional ones. So
we're going to get into that. Let's talk about. You got a notification on your Lyft app that there was an autonomous vehicle available. We did not get that.
We did not get that.
But
apparently in Vegas, if you're in Vegas, and I think that wasn't just for Shoptalk. I think that was just Vegas. They're testing them out. You can get a car like that. They probably have like 2 of them, but that's about it. And come to you, which is kind of interesting.
I was hoping we were going to get that.
I know, me too. I was kind of disappointed. Although I wasn't disappointed by our Lyft drivers. They were pretty fun.
We had some pretty solid drivers all week, so that was great. Other things about the show, the real benefit there is that they feed you. You get breakfast and lunch. They have breaks, which feature all kinds of goodies. What was the one day we had the shrimp and sushi and lobster?
There was literally lobster. Yeah, on the show.
Literally a pile of lobster tails. It was
eating on the side of a corner of a table.
Right. There's no place to eat. Like you're standing there kind of holding lobster in your hand. But it was really amazing. So you go there more for obviously sales because that's your end of the company. My thing about Shop Talk, I attended as many of the tracks and keynotes that I could possibly do. The interesting thing is I like to go to the show floor and learn about new technologies, obviously for this podcast and for our other podcasts that we do, The Register, which we interview movers and shakers and CEOs in e-commerce and retail. So I'm there basically to gather information and data and stuff for shows and meet people. We were there Sunday to Wednesday. We hit the show floor Monday and Tuesday solidly, I'd say 4 or 5 hours each day. And I still didn't even meet half the people that I wanted to meet.
Yeah.
The floor is just so huge. And there's one thing they have called Startup Street, which was super interesting. But they only give each of these startups a small, almost like a, what do you call that? A high top table in a bar.
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
banner behind them, and then maybe room for a laptop. I
But
met
I saw
somebody. Go ahead.
I saw a whole bunch of people, like, I think they were more busier than the big booths.
They definitely were. And I'm going to talk about one. I'm going to talk about two people that I met. The one I met was the guy who actually won Startup Street. His name is Nicholas Fritz. His company's called Rapid Tag. He's from Munich, very nice guy. And I saw Nicholas walking around the show floor because he was walking around with a giant check with $25,000 on it. So I went to his booth and I started talking to him. His company's really neat. They have an Internet of Things cashierless checkout system. Basically, you hold your smartphone, and then if the item you're buying has a rapid tag clip on it, you use your smartphone, unlocks the tag, and you just pay and walk out of the store with it. So that's pretty neat. And I think you're going to see a lot more technologies like that. But his examples were like if you're in a liquor store and you've got like $100 bottle of cognac or whatever, you could walk up, go bloop, and it unlock it, and you walk right out of the store. It's pretty cool.
Huh.
The other really cool thing I saw, and I told you about this because I was super excited about it, is this company called Arilla. It's Arilla. They print invisible serial numbers onto brand labels that can be read using a smartphone. All right, so why would you use that? It basically gives you the provenance of your thing that you're buying. Now, not so much for a t-shirt, like you don't care where a t-shirt has been, but I think it'd be super interesting for high-end goods that are resold, aka a bag or sneakers. I mean, the resale sneaker market is huge. You can see basically with this serial number, it'll tell you where this thing was originally purchased and give you a lot of information. But the neat thing is no one can see this. It's basically invisible ink using a lot of big words like nanotech and wavelengths. Super, super interesting. And I'm like, this guy's got the tiniest booth here. Let's flip it on the other side. So we go to the big booths. Obviously, Pitney Bowes had a giant booth. That was really cool. It was shaped like a box. That was neat. You go to IBM, they had a super sleek booth. Google had, of course, the biggest booth because they were basically featuring a lot of different smaller. It wasn't so much like, come look at Google. It was like Google supported technologies were there,
Right.
as well as Visa. Visa does the same thing. They show off a lot of new payment methods. I went up to eBay. Okay, this is going to be a knock on eBay. I walked up to eBay and I saw they're all kind of standing around, and there's a video playing of this technology. I think it was called Heads Up. And it's basically shopping capabilities that people can use their eyes, like it follows their eyes. So this would be for people who are disabled. They can use their eyes to shop. I walked up and, this is like Tuesday afternoon, so everyone's tired. I'm like, hey, so what are you demoing today? Guy looks at me and goes, nothing. I said,
what?
I said, what's this? What's what? Oh, here, it had cycled through to something else. And I was like, the Heads Up thing. What is that? Oh, that's a thing you shop with your eyes, I think. I'm like, really? And then the guy yells over, he goes, hey, Jimmy, what's up? The guy's like, I'm like, what the F is going on here? So I said, okay, I'm interested to learn more about this because I do a podcast about technologies. Where do you think I could get information? Thinking that maybe, let me call Karen over because Karen is the expert in. No. He goes, he pulls out his phone. He goes, probably go on the website. I think there's a thing on the website, or we have a podcast. You could probably listen to the podcast. I think they might. I just walked away. I was like, what just happened here? So I think a lot of these big companies are just there because, okay, you got money to spend for a booth. Put a booth in there. I don't know what they were selling. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what kind of solutions they were providing. It really kind of put me off. So that leads into, I think the show is going to be changing. What's neat is you've got this giant show floor. It's huge, it's huge, it's huge. But in the back, the last 2 years, what they're doing is it's basically a giant area where it's almost like a dating thing. They have this one-on-one meetings. I don't know how this works, but there was 8,500 meetings where you could go and have a one-on-one meeting with a brand or a vendor. Apparently this is like a huge thing now. Like it was big last year. It was even bigger this year. They said there was 8,500 meetings. So just imagine all these tables. And then there's like a wall in between each one. So you're not, conversations aren't overlapping. And it's got the vendor's brand right on this plastic wall, I guess. A giant back of a convention area with all these people just talking. They said it's been so successful, they're going to cut down on the main show floor and expand it up to maybe 30,000 meetings. That is unconfirmed rumor. Send Bart email. Don't email me.
Because I think it's like 10 or 20 grand for like 15 minutes for 15, not 50, 5 minute meetings.
Wow.
The reason they're doing that is because they have a proprietary system to match you vendors to retailers to whatever else. And that's how that happens. It's not like you just pick and choose. They like literally just match you. You're like, I want to meet retailers of this size, and they'll match you up to those meetings if those vendors want to meet you.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you have less meetings because on a show floor you just see everybody,
Right.
but they're more targeted. So they are successful on that side. So I think that's where vendors and retailers kind of like it. Just wondering, how big can get, right? Because we sat there, we looked at it, we're like, this is kind of nutty.
It's crazy. I mean, just to see it, like, it's just crazy. So they also have a thing called, it was new this year, called Table Talks. It brings groups together between 6 and 8 people of similar seniority from similar companies to discuss topics. That was pretty cool. And then there's a lot of like really good networking and socializing things. Like they had a shop hop, which was like a pub crawl for retailers and brands. We did not participate, but we did witness shop hoppers while we were doing our own bar hopping, I have to admit. And they have a drinks with speakers program where all the attendees of the show can drink with the speakers. I think that would be a little uncomfortable for some of the speakers because obviously there's one guy that might be a little popular. Like if Mark Laurie was there, you imagine how many people would want to talk to him as opposed to some other guy.
But from what I understand, I think they were required to do it.
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
As a speaker, you have to go
contract.
Yeah.
Also on the show floor, they had these tech talks, which is really cool. They basically have these tiny little stages. Imagine imagine if there was a guy with a guitar playing. It's just like a small, tiny little stage like that with 2 speakers and a screen. And basically they say, okay, tech talk start at 2. Lara, you're first, but you get 5 minutes. If you're not done, you're off. You're kicked off. Basically, it's neat. You can gather a lot of information in a very short time, and these guys get up to demo. Now, obviously, some of these guys aren't very good at it.
No.
But it's a good way to get out there and pitch and kind of work on your pitch and stuff, because
the
problem is you're on the show floor and it's crowded, it's busy, people are walking by, people are getting up and moving, but it's a good way to just get up there and just hone your pitch. But like I said, some of them were really good, some of them not so much,
which is fine because that's where you before you go on the big stage and can get on the big stage, it kind of makes it easy.
So we did catch some of the keynotes. I know we Tuesday afternoon we kind of were in there most of the afternoon. We saw
Lowe's.
We saw Lowe's. That was really good. Now, the interesting thing with Lowe's, I have a stat because I love stats. What was the guy's stat? CEO of Lowe's said 70%. Well, first of all, he said we do $3 billion in e-commerce. And then he said 70% of their online sales are picked up and fulfilled in store. I thought that was kind of a staggering number. And then he said 30% of those customers buy additional items. That's also, and then he said, oh, we have to do better. I said, okay, you're doing pretty good.
But I think if you listen to everybody on that floor and stuff like that, like Walmart has that stat too. Because they're pushing those kind of things. I think they all are having those kind of same deals.
It's the new catchword. BOPUS. Buy online, pick up in store. BOPUS.
What?
BOPUS. Buy online, pick up in store.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't hear that tagline there.
BOPUS. You gotta say it like this.
BOPUS. New words.
So there was a lot of buzzwords. I was reading somebody else posted an article. He said, pivot. The pivot is no longer the big buzzword. This year was intent. You have intent to spend, the customer intent. That's a big thing. And the other word I heard, actually, this is the first time I heard it. The CEO of Lowe's used this word, footsteps, because now you're getting more granular into the customer experience within a store. If you've got an app, and every major retailer now has the app, and they're hoping that you're walking around the store with the app, they're tracking your footsteps because now they can figure out which parts of the store are dead. Like you come in, why did he go over here? Why did he skip this part right here?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be the new buzzword you're going to hear in 2019 is footsteps, because they are tracking your footsteps, ladies and gentlemen.
Interesting, my friend.
So in closing, as we said, there might be some changes in Shoptalk. The show floor might get a little smaller. They're also branching out and going regionally. They're launching a thing. They announced it actually at the show. It's called Retail Club. Retail Club will organize local small format gatherings for retail professionals throughout the year across the U.S., starting in New York City. Other cities will follow. You can check that out at retailclub.com. I signed up and they didn't tell me to go away. So maybe they'll let me join their club because I want to be with the cool kids.
You're already a cool kid.
And next year, Shoptalk is moving. It's moving to Mandalay Bay. It's not at the Venetian anymore. That's kind of weird.
No, it's not. Because
is
it was
Mandalay
at
Bay convention area bigger than Venetian?
It's bigger.
It's bigger?
It's actually bigger. Yeah, it's huge. But also, you went to the Venetian last year. It was at the Aria all the years before that.
Oh, was it? I did not know that.
It was at the Aria. The Venetian has a bigger one, and Mandalay Bay really has a big one.
Okay.
That's where all the magic is. Magic is at Mandalay usually, and at the convention center. So I think they're all moving. Yeah, it's a lot bigger.
I've been to Mandalay, but not to conventionize. I've been there to socialize.
They have a special convention center, so it's definitely interesting.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's later this year. It's March 22nd through the 25th. This year it was early, and last year it was on St. Patrick's Day. So I flew into Las Vegas on March 17th, which was St. Patrick's Day and also the first day of March Madness. It was a day I will never forget. I got to see Las Vegas in its raw primal state. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I went to a different conference in Miami, which I saw March Madness, St. Patty's Day, and Spring Break all at the same time.
Oh,
Miami
nice.
Beach. So that was interesting.
Nice.
But speaking of show floors and stuff like that, our friends at Pitney Bowes had an interesting big ginormous box that you walk into.
What's in the box? Yes, they had a big, giant box. It was actually pretty cool. It was neat. And then you go inside and they demoed some of the stuff. That was pretty awesome.
But if you want to go and check out Sempro Online by Pitney Bowes, because it's all about shipping, are you paying too much to send out packages and letters? Would it be nice to have a solution that you can give and lowest rates and stuff? With Sempro Online, it's easy to save time and money no matter what you send. Easy compare USPS, UPS, and FedEx rates all in one online tool. Also gain access to special USPS savings for letters and priority mail shipping. Print shipping labels and stamps for your own printer. Track all your shipments and get email notifications when they arrived. Sempro Online is only $14.99 a month. And for being an e-commerce minute listener, you get free 30-day free trial to get started, plus a free 10-pound scale to help you accurately weigh your packages. Visit pb.com/minute to access the special offer.
That's pb.com/minute. Experience the better way to ship with a free trial of Sempro Online. I finished it there for you, Bart.
I was trying to, do some commentary, but yeah.
All right. Any closing thoughts? Because my closing thoughts are: when in Vegas, make sure you stay hydrated and get some sleep. That is my key advice, my friend.
Sleep and being hydrated is very, very important. I think the biggest thing is try not to overdrink.
Yeah, you got to pace yourself out there. It's so easy because everyone's just walking around drinking all day long.
Right.
All right, folks, that's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on your minute tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion or just want to say hi, find us on social media at Sumo Heavy.